Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is a review of the Makeup Revolution Chocolate Vault. I got so many requests to do a video on this, a full review, after I showed it in my weekly haul. So that's what I'm going to do today. And I thought I would sort of go old school and go back to the way that I used to do reviews on my blog, which was that I had basically like 10 criteria that I would use to review a product. And I feel like that sort of keeps me on track a little bit more, and that way I don't forget any aspect of it that I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to go through those steps, and hopefully you guys find it easier to follow along as well. And if you like this type of review, let me know in the comments below, and definitely give this video a thumbs up. So without further ado, let's just jump right in. So the first thing that I look at is packaging and presentation, and this comes in a really nice huge box. I feel like it's perfect for giving as a gift right away. I love how this is packaged. Inside you have all the palettes laid out, the lip glosses, and then these little face palettes, and I think it's just really a beautiful presentation. And I think that the palettes themselves are packaged really nicely. They have the cute little chocolate bar thing on the outside here. Every one is a different color that sort of goes with the theme of the palette inside. On the back you have information like ingredients and the weights and things like that. Inside you have a really nice large mirror, and what I love about these newer ones is they actually have the names of the shades printed right on the packaging. In the past, when they first started doing these chocolate bar palettes, they had one of those little plastic sheets with the names on them, and the salted caramel one still is that way. They haven't updated their packaging, but all of the other palettes in here do have the names printed on them, which is really nice. And then as far as the mini palettes go, same thing, super cute packaging, very sturdy. You have a nice mirror in these as well, and these don't have shade names, so that's not really a big deal. There's only 2 of them in here, but again, really cute packaging. And then also the lip gloss tubes are nicely packaged as well. I think they're just very sleek and simple. You can see the color right through the tube, so it's very easy to choose the shade that you want. And then inside the tube, the applicator is one of those longer doe foots, which I think make it really easy to get a lot of coverage on your lips, so I really like the packaging on these as well. So the second category that I look at is ingredients and whether or not the product is vegan. So good news is the face palettes and the lip glosses are vegan, but the eyeshadow palettes vary. Some of them are and some of them are not, because a few of them contain carmine. So I'm just looking at my notes here. 1 shade in the Lemon Drizzle palette has carmine, 5 of them in the Strawberry Cheesecake palette have carmine, and 3 of the shades in the Cranberries and Chocolate. The other 3 do not have any carmine in the formula. And then the last thing to note is parabens. All of the products in this collection do have parabens as a preservative, so if that's something that you are concerned with, or you don't use products that contain parabens, then I just wanted to let you know that as well. And then the third thing that I look for is whether or not it's cruelty-free. This is another question I get asked so much, because a lot of you guys are cruelty-free now and don't use brands that test on animals. So good news is Makeup Revolution as a brand is cruelty-free. And then the fourth thing that I look at is where are the products made, and these are made in China. I believe all of Makeup Revolution's makeup is made in China. It's designed in the UK and then made in a factory in China. I believe the only thing that's not is their new skincare line, which is made in England, but in this case, everything in this collection is made in China. And then the fifth thing I want to talk about is price, and the price is $110 for this whole collection. It has a retail value of around $120 to $125 or so. The 6 palettes retail for $15 a piece. So all totaled up, those equal $90. And then the two face palettes are $9 each, so that's another $18, which brings the total to $108. So for the $2 extra, you're basically getting these 3 lip glosses, and their lip glosses they sell on their website for anywhere from $3 to $7. So I averaged it out at about $5 a piece, which would bring the total cost of this palette to somewhere around $120 to $125. So really, you're not saving a lot. It's not a value set, but I think the whole appeal of this collection is that you are getting 3 palettes that you can't get anywhere else, and also just the giftable nature of it. The fact that it comes in this cute packaging and the holidays are coming up makes it a great gift, but again, you're not really going to save any money by buying it this way. The 6th category I look at is fragrance. Now, everything in this collection does have fragrance added to it. The chocolate palettes all have a chocolate scent to them. The only one that doesn't is the Strawberry Cheesecake, which smells like strawberries. And then the Too Faced palettes smell like chocolate, and the lip products smell exactly like their name. So you have praline, salted caramel, and then chocolate cherry, which I'm wearing on my lips today, and this smells amazing. It smells just like a chocolate covered cherry. So if you like scented products and you're into that and that doesn't bother you, you'll love this. But if you don't like putting scented products on your eyes, you don't like scented lip products, you might want to skip this one. And then number 7 is texture, or how the products feel. And when it comes to the eyeshadow palettes, I have to say that both the mattes and the shimmers feel very, very soft. The mattes are silky and smooth, and the shimmer shades have that really rich, buttery feel to them. I'm also impressed with how little powder kick-up they have. They're very firmly pressed. So whether you dip your fingers into it or a brush, I was not noticing any powder kick-up or fallout whatsoever, so that is really impressive. And same thing with the face products. I feel like they're very firmly pressed into the pans, but at the same time soft and easy to pick up with a brush. And then as far as the lip products go, they feel very, very smooth on the lips, no stickiness whatsoever, so I feel like they're very comfortable and very hydrating to wear. And then number 8 is performance and ease of use. This is probably the biggest category because this is actually how are the products performing. So as far as the eyeshadow palettes go, I think they perform really well for the most part. I had no trouble whatsoever using the matte shades. They pick up extremely well with a brush. They blend beautifully. I didn't feel like they blended away to nothing. However, I do have fair skin, so even the lightest of colors show up on me really, really well. I don't know if you have a deeper skin tone, if some of them may fade a little bit more or not show up as vibrantly on you, but for me, I felt like every shade that I've used so far shows up really well and blends really nicely. And as far as the shimmer shades go, even though they are rich and buttery, they're so firmly pressed into the pan that they're hard to pick up with a brush. So I found myself sort of rubbing the brush back and forth over each shade a bunch of times just to pick it up. And then once I applied it to my eyes with a brush, it really didn't make as big of an impact as I wanted it to. So the solution to that was just to apply them with my finger, and they went on much more vibrantly that way. Or I also could wet my brush and they went on really beautifully once wet as well. So there's definitely workarounds with that. It's just a matter of, you know, do you want to layer them up a little bit, or do you just want something that's gonna make a crazy impact right out of the gate with a brush without having to wet it? That's just something that you'll have to decide for yourself. But for me, I don't mind working with eyeshadows a little bit. It wasn't too big of a deal. And then I had a similar experience with the face products. I feel like they blended really well. They pick up well with the brush. I didn't find that the bronzer gets too muddy, and I think that the highlighters make a really, really nice impact without being chunky. They don't have any of that like crumbly kind of fallout. They just are so smooth. But one thing to note with the highlighter is that they're not going to make a huge impact unless they're wet, similar to the eyeshadows. So if you like a really crazy blinding highlight, you may want to spritz your brush a little bit or use a damp beauty blender to apply them to your cheeks. But as far as I'm concerned, I was perfectly happy just picking them up with a brush dry. It gave me enough of a glow, and I typically just go for more of a light to medium highlight. So for me, it was fine. But like I said, if you want more of that blinding glow, definitely wet these and you'll be good to go. And then as far as the 3 lip glosses go, I really enjoy this formula. It's very hydrating on the lips, and these are extremely pigmented in one swipe. So these are not going to go on sheer. They go on full impact, almost like a liquid lipstick, but without that dry feel. So for my look today, I'm wearing the S'mores palette on my eyes, and this is that really just brown taupey kind of palette, and I love it so much. It's such a beautiful palette. I used the shade Toast right here in my crease, and then I went in with Over the Fire in my outer corner, which is this really deep brown shade right here. And then on my lid, I'm using the shade Golden, and I did wet it a little bit just to make it pop a little bit more. I don't know if you can even see it that well on camera, but I love this palette. This is probably one of my favorites. I just love how it's got all those browns in there. Those are the colors I tend to wear every day. I know it might seem boring, but I love the looks that I create with this one because it's just so easy. I hardly even have to think about it. And then on my face, I didn't want to use the blush just because I wanted more of a neutral cheek since I knew I was doing the red lip. So I went with the matte bronzer as a blush on my cheeks, and then I topped it with the shimmery bronzer in this palette, which is almost like more of a rosy tone, and I just used that as more of a blush topper, and that added enough glow to where I didn't feel like I needed to use the highlight today. So just those 2 bronzers I feel like made a really beautiful natural cheek look. And then on my lips I'm wearing the Chocolate Cherry Gloss, and as you can see, it's super pigmented and almost like a liquid lipstick, but it feels so comfortable on the lips. I did line my lips though, because with a gloss it could be kind of slippery and slidey, and I didn't want it to start moving outside of my lip line, so that was the way that I got around that. But overall, I love this shade. I think it's super pretty. And then number 9 is longevity and how long the products wear, and this can definitely vary depending on your skin type. For example, I find that these eyeshadows last a really long time on me, but I have dry eyelids. I have dry skin in general, but my eyelids are dry, so eyeshadows tend to last a long time on me even without primer. I don't have issues with creasing. I don't have, issues with powder sliding off or anything like that. So if you have more oily eyelids, you may need to powder ahead of time. You may need to use primer, whatever you normally do. But I find that these last pretty much the entire day on me without having to touch up. So I'm really impressed with the wear time of them. The face products don't seem to last quite as long on me, but again, that's something that's pretty normal for me. Blushes fade really quickly throughout the day. I find that these are about average. I get probably half a day out of them before I notice them fading and not looking quite as vibrant as they did when I first applied them. They're still there, but just a little bit. And again, that's pretty average and pretty normal. And then as far as the lip products go, they're not as long lasting as a lipstick or a matte liquid lipstick would be, because they are glosses, so they are going to wear off when you're eating. Now with the lighter glosses, it's not so much of an issue, but I think with this red shade right here, I personally would not wear this anywhere where I felt like I was going to be eating or drinking, because it's going to wear off much quicker and it might even smudge around, which you definitely don't want with a darker color. It's way more noticeable. It may also transfer to your teeth. So if you're going somewhere and you're not going to be there for too long, or you're not going to be eating or drinking, I think it's fine for that. But if you are expecting this to last an entire night or through a meal, definitely not. Just like any other lip gloss, they are going to transfer. They are going to wear off pretty quickly. And then number 10 is dupes, and I feel like this category is way easier to talk about if I'm just reviewing one palette. I can dig through my collection and find all of the dupes, but with so many palettes, it would have taken forever, and I just don't have the time, unfortunately. I wish I could, but just looking at everything really quickly, I do think that the Lemon Drizzle palette is very similar to like the Natasha Denona Sunset palette, the ColourPop Yes Please, a lot of those super warm palettes that were coming out with the bright yellows and the, you know, the warm colors. I think this is very similar to those, just on site. I'm going to put them just up on the screen so you can kind of do a little comparison, but that's what I think this palette reminds me of. And then the Salted Caramel palette is a shade for shade dupe for the Too Faced Semi-Sweet palette, and I don't have that one. I used to have it, and I did swatch this one and that one together way back when on my blog, and they are exact dupes. So this one I know for sure is a dupe. And then the only other one I can really think of a dupe for is the S'mores palette. I kind of feel like because of all these browns in here, it may be similar to the Violet Voss Taupe Notch palette, but at the same time, there are some warmer shades in here as well. You have this copper one right here, and this one up here, which the peachy color. So I think the Taupe Notch palette runs a little bit more on the cool side, but again, if you're just looking for something similar to that, where it's just all a whole bunch of neutrals and browns, I think this one might be a good option for you as well. And when it comes to Strawberry Cheesecake, I really couldn't think of any dupes in my collection that I have for this. I feel like this is a really unique palette, and same thing for Macaroon. I can't think of one palette that looks just like this, so that's one of the reasons why I really love this collection, is because I feel like there's some really, really unique color combinations in here. And then the Cranberries and Chocolate, this kind of is reminding me of something, but I cannot for the life of me think of what it is. So if you guys think that this may remind you of something, let me know. I was thinking at first it might be the Too Faced Gingerbread, but I pulled that out and it really doesn't look like that. So I don't know, but it's got, you know, those sort of cranberry maroon colors in there. I thought even maybe the Lorac Pro 4, is this the Pro 4? Yes, Pro 4. Let me just hold these up so I can see. I mean, yeah, this one, what do you guys think? It's kind of sorta, like there's definitely a few very similar shades in there, but I don't know. All right, guys, so my final thoughts on the Makeup Revolution Chocolate Vault is that it's a really, really solid collection. I love the eyeshadow palettes. I think they are super easy to work with. The colors are beautiful, and there's some amazing combinations in there that I don't currently have in my collection. And the lip glosses, I could sort of take them or leave them. I mean, I feel like they're just similar to other lip glosses that I have in my collection that are a little more on the pigmented side. I wouldn't obviously buy this entire thing for those. They're nice to have in here, and I do like that they're scented. And then as far as the face palettes go, I really like what they have in here because you really have every face product that you would need. You have your highlighter, you have a shimmery bronzer or a blush or blush topper as I used it today. I think they're kind of versatile. And then you have your matte bronzer, or you can use it as a blush like I did today, and then you have more of a shimmery blush. The only thing it doesn't have in here is a matte blush, but again, I use the bronzer for a blush and it's beautiful. It's just more of a neutral color, but there's no matte pink or peach blush. If you want the pink, you're gonna have to use the shimmery one. And you know, if you're not a fan of shimmery blushes because you find that they accentuate texture on your cheeks, then you may not be happy about that. But again, I think overall in this collection, the star of it is definitely those eyeshadow palettes. And if you have a makeup lover in your life, the holidays are coming up and this would make a really amazing gift. But also, if you're just a Makeup Revolution fan like I am and you wanted to get those 3 palettes in here that are not sold separately, I can't believe I didn't even talk about that yet, actually. There's 3 palettes in here that you can't get on their own. So Lemon Drizzle, Macaroon, and Salted Caramel you can buy individually right now, but the other 3 eyeshadow palettes you cannot buy individually. So you can only get them in this collection. I was actually on Instagram the other day and Makeup Revolution was answering questions about this, and somebody had asked if those exclusive palettes were ever going to be released separately, and they said they really didn't have any plans to, maybe down the line, but don't count on it. So if you really want those palettes, then it makes even more sense to go ahead and just get this collection because there's no guarantee that you'll be able to get them down the road. All right, guys, so that completes this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up, and also let me know in the comments below if you're thinking about picking this up for yourself or for a gift for somebody. I would love to hear your thoughts on the entire collection. Thank you guys so much for watching. Please don't forget to hit that subscribe button so that you can be notified of future videos, and I will see you guys next time.